All right, we are back with the Screen Team. We've got Sean's show here where we are reviewing all kinds of great movies. We got done with Ocean's 11.
Yes.
We also reviewed the movie Beautiful Girls, which was beautifully...
It was a great movie.
Okay. But we're going to finish up with one of the hottest new movies out right now. It is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And, of course, Sean, the gang is all back.
Yes.
And they are trying to save the galaxy one more time. So you got a chance to see this in theaters. What were your thoughts, man?
I enjoyed it. I've been reading a little bit of pre-release coverage. Now, some people were down on it, but I quite enjoyed it. I thought the music choices were, again, great. With music was such a big part of the first movie. Thought it delivered the laughs, but kind of like Avengers 2, I thought there were a few places where they went for the laugh that maybe it wasn't appropriate. But other than that, I greatly enjoyed the movie.
And we've got our resident comic book guy here, Jamie Hickson. Jamie, you saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with us as well. What did you think, man?
I thought it was pretty cool. You know? As I was saying before we started, I haven't really kept up much with the recent incarnation in the comics. And this kind of makes me want to go back and check it out a little bit. I've read a couple of things, like some one-shots, but they have their own series, and then they have like a little mini-series devoted to some of the characters so to tell more about their backstory and stuff.
Yeah. So in this particular film, we've got the Guardians. They were hired to do a job for, what's the golden people called?
I had it, and then you asked, and then I blanked on it.
Let's call them the golden people.
Golden people.
So they're hired to do a job. They do the job, but then at the very end of the job,
something goes not according to plan.
Yeah.
And it basically ticks off the golden people
quite a bit. I mean,
that's kind of how
Celestial, right?
Celestial.
No, that's not it. I'm sorry, that's not it.
No, Celestial is something else.
Oh man, I thought I had it. Anyway, so they ticked off the golden people.
Yeah.
The golden people are trying to kill them now.
Yeah.
And basically on this roller coaster ride, we end up finding who Star-Lord's father is.
Yes.
Which was like a kind of a big crux in the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
right?
that was kind of the end stinger with Yondu and the guy from Gilmore Girls, whose name I can't remember, who was his little first in command. That they were talking about Star-Lord's dad.
Right.
Star-Lord's dad makes himself known here early in the movie, and then it's kind of the movie examines the relationship between Star-Lord and his dad. Which I feel bad that none of us are saying Star-Lord's dad's name, because did they ever say it in the movie?
Ego.
Ego.
Yeah, Ego.
Oh, Ego, yeah, because...
Yeah, Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah, that's right.
Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah, Ego's planet, that's right. So, yeah.
Did you just reference the Gilmore Girls, by the way?
Yes, I did.
I'm just making sure. I didn't want that to slip through. So
You talking about the skinny guy?
Yeah,
James Gunn's brother?
Yeah, James Gunn's brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn,
yeah. Yeah, he was a regular on Gilmore Girls. I went there.
all right, man. So anyway, what were some of the good points of this film, Jamie? What did you like?
Well, it's hard not to like Rocket, even though he's kind of a smart aleck and kind of
that's one word. Yep.
Sticks in everybody's craw to some degree. But he has his good points, even though he's kind of a jerk. and it's interesting when you can take a character like that and kind of sympathize with him, or I guess say sympathize, because he's looking out for himself, but he's also looking out for everybody else.
Yeah, true. He has nice character growth throughout the movie and ways opinions change. I'm a little surprised the way that they handle Drax, because in the comics Drax is all business, and he's he's there to tear things in half.
Sure. And so it's kind of interesting to see them play him comedically a lot.
Yeah.
So
I thought Batista does a great job.
Oh yeah, I thought he did great.
He is great. Yeah.
I was surprised they went full. I figured it'd just be Groot in a smaller form, not a full-on baby Groot. That actually caught me surprised. I enjoyed that. The way that he had childlike mannerisms through the entire movie.
Yeah.
Which they pay off real good at the end. I'm not going to spoil that, but
that's true. And I think Groot as a whole, I think for everybody from little kids to us, I think he's a very adorable character in this.
And that one point in the film, I really expected an audible "oh," and nobody did it. And I was like, "Wow, that's kind of everybody's really into it."
Yeah.
That's how far they're into it, So,
guys, I have some breaking news. The Golden People, they're called the Sovereign People.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So we hit on some of the high points. Is there any low points in this movie? Anything that kind of...
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think they went for the joke in some of the more serious scenes where it wasn't really needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that kind of took away from it a little bit. The movie has a plot, but the plot really takes a back seat towards the character interactions. I thought it maybe could use a little bit more, kind of storytelling rather than just focusing on kind of relationships here there at some points. Yeah. It kicks into gear more towards the end, but I think could use a little bit more in the middle. And I mean, you could say that the plot that's there is somewhat generic.
Okay.
It's a standard Marvel action movie fare, which I think would be a pretty on the nose complaint about it. But other than that, I don't really have that. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think those are really, deal breakers or anything. I thought it was still a good movie.
Well, and they referenced the Infinity Stone, at early on, and so you kind of tuck that away in the back of your head because that's from the first movie.
Right.
And then if you follow all the other movies, the Avengers and whatnot, you know that the Infinity Stones are going to play into a bigger storyline later on. So that's neat that they have a couple of little plot points that kind of are going to weave into this other thing later on.
We're starting to run out of time because that's supposed to happen next year.
Yeah, you're right. Infinity War comes out next May.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and they had. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
They had 5 end credit sequences. 5 of them.
That's wild.
I don't think any of them were that. I mean, they were cute, but I don't think they were that integral to be. Because you kind of want at least one to be like major world building for the next movie.
Well, the one with the sovereign people is actually going to play.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, so, but I mean that's going to fly over people's heads.
Yeah, that don't know about the comics or whatever. So
but I mean, most of the end credit scenes fly over people's head until they have a chance to, read about it and learn about it in future movies.
See,
that's fair.
I just read a thing yesterday or the day before that said. Time-wise, all these movies are kind of happening in the order that they happen. Because they make a reference in one of the Iron Mans about, he just became Iron Man 8 years ago, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so this one, if you think about they showed 1980 when Star-Lord's dad meets his mom.
And Missouri represent.
Missouri, yeah, that was cool. But they flash forward, what does it say, 34 years?
Right.
And then if you think about the last movie, so the next movie, so they're actually behind time if you look at it in real time.
Right.
They're 4 years behind, essentially. So it's gonna shoot forward 4 years before they bring them into this big storyline that includes the Avengers and everybody else. So
that's a good point. Very, very good point. I didn't even think about that. So, yeah, just to throw a little bit more on the end credit scene, I agree. I think they probably could have used that the Sovereign one as the last one. I thought the very last one was like,
that's a little long to make me wait for that.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, in comparison with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, do you remember what the end credit scene was?
It was Howard the Duck.
It was Howard the Duck. So it was
fair enough.
So
that was kind of neat.
What'd you guys think about the CGI in this film? Special effects. What'd you guys think?
I didn't really have too many complaints. I mean, there's nothing that stuck out to me. It was like, except maybe the Shuma-Gorath kind of monster at the very beginning. Nothing really stuck out for me as like, that looks bad. There were a couple things in that early fight sequence that kind of caught my eye, but other than that, nothing really stood out as, oh, hey, this is bad, which I guess is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to, So I didn't have many complaints.
And that first scene is all. It's all background more or less to set up the credits,
which is cool.
I like the scene.
And again, it features Baby Groot in an interesting way.
Yeah.
So.
I will say, I think the relationship between Nebula and Gamora. Of the many things that were cliched in that movie, that might have been one of the most overly used. Yeah. That just seemed kind of like you could have done something a little bit more subtle with this. They kind of hit that a little too far on the nose for me.
I think so.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nebula, man, I love her makeup scheme.
Yeah.
I just love the way she looks and the way
Karen Gillian does real good in that role too.
Yeah. I think I want to see more of her. I like that character very much so. So you guys both enjoyed it, both liked it.
Yeah.
Sure. Recommend it to everybody. Right?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay. It's got a little bit of language in it, so probably not for the young ones. You don't think? What do you think?
I mean,
it depends on the kid, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think anything was too bad. I have an 8-year-old, and he would probably still enjoy seeing the movie.
Yeah.
He would kind of just not even pay attention to that stuff. He would be more interested in the action and the explosions and Baby Groot and that kind
Yeah.
of, you know, so.
I mean, if you're hypersensitive to bad language, maybe keep the kids away. But I mean, there's nothing too bad here.
Okay.
I mean, you might hear a few. They don't go to the hyper end of it, but they get close a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and it's expected with the characters that say those words. You son of a,
Right.
And it's like, well, of course that character's going to say that.
Yeah.
But it's just the one time, and like, so it's not as bad as it could be. That's for sure. I've seen PG. Is this PG-13?
Yeah, it's PG-13.
I've seen PG-13s that are way worse.
And honestly, also the violence not super bad either.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is kind of
some of it's even kind of humorous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That was a funny scene. Anyway, it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You can check it out in theaters right now. Jamie, thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sean, thank you so much
You're
for doing this, man. We appreciate you. We'll be back next Saturday for more movie reviews for you right here on the Screen Team. And remember, we want you to know before you go.